Hello and welcome to Talk from Superheroes. Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Ivamy.
And I'm Diana McCullum.
And you're listening to Talk from Superheroes, where every week we discuss a piece of heroic television or film. And this week on the podcast, we are talking about something we've not yet had the chance to get around to.
We have never covered What We Do in the Shadows, the show.
The show.
The show of the Shadows, season 4?
Yes.
Are we on 4?
This is the entirety of season 4 is what this episode will be. I don't believe we've ever covered the movie either.
We haven't, and we should put it on the list.
We should.
The movie's phenomenal.
You know what? Write that down.
Keep that in?
Keep that in.
All right.
We'll put that on the list as well. But we're talking
Scratchy
about
pen sounds.
We're Foley work of a pen.
Insert later?
Frantically writing things down. Yeah. A note to our producer, me. Put that in later. Excellent. Good work, mate. So we are going to be talking about What We Do in the Shadows, season 4 in its entirety. And, 4 is the fresh one. It's what's in our minds. I guess references to everything, kind of spoiler warning for all 4 seasons, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it would be weird if people were like, you can talk about 4, but I didn't watch 2 yet.
Yeah,
So,
if you're bebopping and scatting and jumping your way
flex.
around, very strange
but
flex.
also it's a comedy.
I respect your power and authority to do as you will, though.
You enjoy What We Do in the Shadows in any form you like.
Yes.
But we are probably going to go linearly.
Yeah, that's how we're gonna do it through
spoils.
Yes, and with spoils, but we will give you a spoiler-free review because the season just ended. Maybe there's some people who haven't watched the show or who haven't watched this season. Maybe you've fallen off. You're not sure if it's worth your time or you want to come back or yada yada yada. We're gonna give you a spoiler-free review. Then, once you hear the theme music, that's when we're going to get into the spoiler-filled section. So let's start with a simple spoiler-free review. Diana, What We Do in the Shadows, Season 4. Do you like it?
I did like it, but I also think it might have been my least favorite season of What We Do in the Shadows. So it's like, yeah, I liked it, but they've done better. I think there is not a lot that's super memorable about this season, and I almost want to say they didn't try to do something new, but they did try to do something really new that completely failed and wasn't funny in any way, shape, or form. And I think Andrew knows what it is. I'm not going to spoil it because that actually probably is one of the spoilers of the season.
I'd agree with that.
But yeah, there is just a huge storyline throughout the season that I don't think made me laugh one single time. So it was a kind of a flop in that way. There's definitely episodes that are better, episodes that are worse. There's a few highlight episodes. There's a fun idea here. And everyone's just always as good as always. This cast is stellar and they're getting more comfortable every year. It just feels like there's not very good jokes this year though. I honestly feel like Matt Berry every week got his script and was like, no jokes again. My voice will get increasingly sillier then. He's just
and it does, though.
It does. And I love Matt Berry's voice. And I love Matt Berry and the whole cast. But there is just a distinct lack of, big pieces that work that I think other seasons have had. The Jackie Daytona episodes or, even just big episodes where they go to a different location. It feels like you're just at the house the whole season and not a lot happens and not a lot of big memorable moments. So yeah, I liked it fine, but it's probably my least favorite What We Do in the Shadows season. Andrew, did you like it?
I really liked it. I am not as harsh on it as you are. I had a great time. I agree with you. There are a few things that maybe don't work for me as much as previous seasons. The one kind of spoiler plot line, which we'll get into later. I agree with you. I like that. I actually think that worked as a runner. I thought it was actually quite funny, but it was quite funny, I think, at the sacrifice of a funnier thing that I've been enjoying for 3 seasons. You know what I mean? Where it's
what you're saying, yeah.
where it was just here's 2 $20 bills to replace your $50 bill. And I'm like, I still have
$40.
And I like having $40, but the in and out ratio didn't quite work for me. So I think that they sacrificed a funnier thing for a still funny thing. So I might agree with you that maybe this isn't the hottest of the seasons, but it's still better than 90% of comedies out there. I still have a fantastic time. All the performances are great. I think there is 1 or 2 episodes that really do hit. I like that they go all in on a couple of runners. Several season long callback, which I think is a deep cut. I think it's like if you're in the rhythm of this show and you like this show, this is a lot of the same kind of fun, playful energy. It's the same, but in a good way.
I will definitely agree. It is like so much better than most comedies out there right now. So yeah, absolutely. This being a lesser season of What We Do in the Shadows is still better than 90% of every other show. Like, it's still absolutely, you should watch it if you've liked every other season. It's still very fun. There's definitely episodes that rock more than other episodes. I had a good time. I was just like, oh, there's been a better season.
Yeah, it still comes in as a huge recommend for me though. Like if someone has seen none of What We Do in the Shadows, my recommendation is just hop in season 1, get right on it. For sure, watch What We Do in the Shadows. If someone watched season 3 and then kind of like fell off, just never got into this season, never had a chance to get around to it, I say get in there. Like, I don't think it's the like, oh, this is the one that you skip.
Oh, no, it's not a skip.
Get right in there. So I think it's still a huge recommend for me in any direction, but I can agree with you. It might be the lesser of the seasons.
I think we're on the same page here about What We Do in the Shadows.
And can it be spoiled? We glanced upon it a little.
Yeah, it can. There's some stuff that goes on this season that's like fun, and I wouldn't want it spoiled for me.
Yeah, I agree. I agree as well. Yeah, a few character-driven pieces as well that were unexpected. For the most part, the show is vampire troubles and oops, we've killed someone, and nothing that can really be too spoiled when I think back on seasons 1 to 3. But this one, yeah, it really did have a few plot and character-driven twists and turns and moments that I think are better to just kind of experience as they are.
Yeah, I almost never want anything spoiled for me, but it was surprising for like a show that's kind of about how nothing ever changes to be like, no, there's some like changes.
Yeah.
Look out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure maybe there was any, but I think was spoilers, but if I think back to like seasons 1 and 2, it really is just like Guillermo's doing his best to help them out, but they just can't be helped. And like great comedy, I don't mean to say that in a reductive way, but in a way that like it didn't have these characters.
The character development wasn't there yet of like we're doing long form storytelling with these characters you've latched onto. The first 2 seasons were very much like singular episodes, inside jokes of that one episode, really good ones. But yeah, these later seasons kind of just drive more, and they're like, we know you're watching the whole season, so. And buckle it.
And I might even argue that would be to kind of like just to circle back to spoiler-free review rather than the can it be spoiled section, but that might kind of feed into the whole thing of like why this is a little less funny this season, but that it's needed to have a little bit more heart and story, that you can't just keep hitting the same joke factory over and over again for 4 seasons, that you do need to add a little bit more of a character drive and go a little bit more in that direction just to keep things kind of fresh and keep the audience engaged. So it might be purposeful that it's a little bit less jokes per minute than previous seasons.
I can get behind that.
Well, that I think will do it for the spoiler-free review. Before we get into the spoiler-filled section of the episode, we want to thank our wonderful sponsor of today's episode. We want to thank our friends over at Quip.
Over at Quip, because good health starts with good habits, and Quip makes it easy by delivering all the oral care essentials you need to care for your mouth. And all of Quip's products are absolutely wonderful. We use all of them.
Yes.
We use the wide range of Quip products on our mouth and our teethies.
I get it all up in there. There are a wide range of products with the staple, the number one that you're going to go to, I'm going to say, is the electric toothbrush, which is loved by over 7 million mouths. It has timed sonic vibrations with 30-second pulses, so that way you get a dentist-guided 2-minute clean. You pop it in, you go to a quadrant. I start bottom left. That's my game. That's how I roll. You feel that pulse after 30 seconds. Switch over to a different quadrant.
What's the second quadrant, Andrew?
Bottom right.
Bottom right.
Excellent, then top right, top left. Every time.
Pro strat.
I've got a pro strat. You know what? I'm going to throw that in for free. Y'all can roll with that if you want. Bottom left, bottom right, top left. That's kind of how I do it.
But that's an Andrew exclusive.
And that's a freebie, all right? But the 30-second pulses will help guide you to that in this lightweight and sleek design toothbrush. It looks good. It feels good to use. It's got this great cover, which functions as a mirror mount or a tabletop stand, but also as a travel cover as well. So it's really smooth and easy to take with you if you're traveling.
Yeah, and you can also upgrade your Quip with a new smart motor to track and improve your brushing with the free Quip app. And then you get rewards for brushing your teeth, a thing I think you're probably doing anyway. Get free stuff for it.
You should be doing it anyway.
You should be, and if you're not, get on it.
And then get some free stuff
Get your
for
Quip,
it.
get free stuff, Target gift cards, free refills, like Cool stuff.
And they have other products at Quip, too. They have their anti-cavity toothpaste. They also have 2 ways to floss, their floss string and their reusable floss pick. I love the reusable floss pick. Like, the floss string, a classic, never goes wrong. That's a full, like, I'm getting ready for bed or starting my day. You go in on a full floss. The floss pick, that's a quick hit. That's a quick hit of like...
We had corn.
There was corn with dinner. There was corn. Not enough people talk about carrots, too. Carrots get all up in my biz.
Oh, you got carrot biz.
I get carrot biz.
I don't got carrot
biz. If I munch on some snack carrots, some carrots getting down in there.
You also eat more carrots than me.
I also eat more carrots
But thank
than
you, Quip, for dealing with the carrot situation.
So they're dealing with it all. And if you go to getquip.com/super right now, you'll get your first refill free. That's your first refill for free at getquip.com/super. That is spelled GETQUIP.com/super. Quip, the Good Habits Company. And thank you, Quip, for your support.
Thank you, Quip.
And now let's get into the spoiler-filled section. Let's talk about what we do in the shadows.
Spoilers.
All right, we're in the spoiler section. Let's get it out of the way right off the top. The thing that we kind of disagree about, the potential spoiler for this season at the very least, which is baby Colin Robertson.
Excellent. I'm glad that we agree. I'm glad you said that because I'm like, I really hope we are thinking about the same thing because sometimes we're in the spoiler-free section. I'm like, probably we mean the same thing.
But we don't know
but
for
we can't
sure.
say it. But yeah, baby Colin Robinson did nothing for me.
For those of you, to kind of catch you up, if you haven't watched the season, if you want a little refresher, Colin Robertson for 3 seasons is this character who is an energy vampire. He's quite boring. He bores you and he sucks energy out of you by boring you.
It's funnier than it sounds. It doesn't sound funny.
It is considerably funny. And I would say last season kind of like became this weird heart of the show that I was all about.
Yeah, I loved his journey of trying to figure out where energy vampires come from and where he's from and like Laszlo like sadly finding out the truth that he was dying. Like it was a great storyline in season 3.
It was this weird shift of like Guillermo has been the heart of the show, and last season it was just like, is it Colin Robertson? And it really worked. And then at the end of the season, he dies.
Remember when his head caved in?
And his head caved in.
When Nandor
nasty.
touched it, it was so gross and cool.
And this season, he is replaced. Did it like chest burst out of him or something? I can't remember how it
chest burst out of his old body, but that was the end of last season. But
is a little tiny him, like played by a body double of like a child actor, rapidly aging, but with the adult face of the current actor who played Colin Robertson. So it's an adult man's face on a kid's body. Mm-hmm. And that's the joke, and that's what it is the whole season. But he behaves as though he is a child. So it is an adult man playing a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old, a teenager, etc. And I think that it is funny, but it is funny at the sacrifice of the full-fledged character, which I think was funnier and had more heart. But I do think that the adult head on a child's body with a child's behavior is funny and works as a runner throughout the season.
See, I think the concept of that works. I just never felt it landed for me at all. Because, like, yes, it is very weird and jonky to be like Mark Probst's like adult head on this child body in these terrible wigs as well. I'm like, of course I'm a child. Look at this wig. It's a funny idea. I just never really felt like it was funny. Like, I also couldn't figure out if he was energy vampiring because he was very boring. He'd want to tell you about his YouTube algorithms and his one viewer or whatever. So I'm like, oh, are you still an energy vampire? Are you just a straight up child? And like, yeah, just nothing about it worked for me other than just the janky, fun CG effect of it. I don't think I ever got a laugh. I think I got one laugh, and it was the one where they go to the cabin and Laszlo's just like, do your thing, boy. And he's like, Siri, who is the most Siri, has any bowler ever made a lot of money? And he's just like instantly good at finding obscure facts.
Right.
I'm like, that's kind of like where this kid would be like, oh, the internet has obscure facts. And that worked, and I think that might have been the only time I laughed at this idea. I just didn't care for it.
Okay.
Even like when he's tap dancing, I love a musical.
Right.
It's hard for me to be like, I don't enjoy this musical treatment.
Yeah.
And it just didn't do anything for me. I'm the opposite of the vampires. I don't care for a child dance routine.
I'm not saying I'm super into the child dance routine. That wasn't the highlight of it for me. I agree with you. I'm also not like the vampires and not all about that child dance routine life. I think the relationship between Laszlo and Colin as like a father and son type of thing really works. I think that that's a lot of fun. I kind of bought into that, like just like them on a bus to a shitty gig in a different town because he's his dadager now. And
dadager. Knowing all the terms.
The father figure / manager or whatever. I think that was a lot of fun and it really worked for me. And just as a visual sight gag, it didn't stop being funny for me. Seeing this kind of CGI floating head of an adult man on a child body double body. That skinny cap effect, but with a 10-year-old, is funny to me. I had a great time with that.
Well, I'm glad it landed for you, sincerely. It didn't do anything for me. I think it started to get funny for me in the last episode, actually, where he still has the mind of a kid, but now he's in an adult body. I just think that worked way better for me, of like he wants to play tag and he wants to go to birthday parties and he still wants to be like a child tap dancer, but now he's in an adult body. I just think that was way funnier, but you have to be small first to get to that. So like you got to earn that. But yeah, the tiny body didn't do anything for me, which is so wild because I love tiny things.
Yeah.
You guys don't know this about me, but sometimes Andrew buys me small stuff just to make me happy.
And it makes you feel good.
And it makes me so happy every time.
But tiny Colin Robertson apparently doesn't do it. I will say, however, Mark Proch, who plays Colin Robertson, I think did a very good job of playing that character at different ages. I don't know if you can get on board with this, even if you weren't super into it.
Even if I don't think an idea works, I can tell like when an actor is like doing his best with it, he's executing it well. I mean, he's incredible. He is like, it seems like it would be so easy to be like, I'm an energy vampire, but there's like layers to it. Like you have to be like not too boring because it's a comedy or else we'll hate this character. So there has to be some lifts and the boringness has to be just at the right level. And like you're trying to make that into a child. So like now I have lots of energy, but I'm still supposed to be boring. It's actually really hard. Did a great job. I just, as a concept, it doesn't work for me on paper even.
Right.
But in execution, I'm like, no, you did a great job on this like big swing that didn't hit for me, but I'm glad it hit for some other people.
Okay. Yeah, I think transitioning boring into exhaustion is a great kid interpretation of that. But yeah, I agree. Over the seasons, he's done a phenomenal job of this performance and finding the depth of it, which can mean a lot of different things. And it is not just being boring. It's being boring, but being boring means you're sucking energy out of people. So you're finding joy and energy in being the slowest, boring, worst possible. So how do you display that dichotomy as an actor in any given moment? And I think he does a great job of it.
He does. And it's also got to be the kind of boring that people can't escape from. Because like sometimes you meet a boring person, you're like, I'm going to go over there. But you have to like have your hooks in of like, this is an inescapable situation. It's a work situation, or I sat next to you at a crowded table and there's no other seats, and he always finds it. And it's like, it's a very delicate balance. He does a great job.
Now, I think the other big plot line of this season was the Vampire Nightclub, which I think had highs and lows. I think Vampire Nightclub as like a season through line didn't work as good as like the Vampiric Council stuff of previous seasons. But like we did have some fun stuff with like the blood sprinklers and the shows and like the directors and Sofia Coppola and Jim Jarmusch calling her and being like, I don't know where you are. What happened the other night?
How are they doing this?
I think that there was a lot of fun stuff with the nightclub. Wasn't quite as good as the Vampiric Council for a season runner. How do you feel about the nightclub?
I feel kind of the exact same way. I would say the Vampiric Council was so fun because like they were like constantly trashing it, and the guide Kristen Shaw was always like, "No, my things." She was so having her as a foil or like trying to stop them constantly was so fun. I think as soon as they got her on board, the nightclub actually got kind of boring because no one was fighting against it.
I agree. It doesn't work with Kristen Schall's character, the guide, on their side. We need that character as a pushback.
You need someone to push against you in some way, and especially in a season where you've lost Colin Robinson, who pushes back in a way of like making everyone calm or like being no fun. You really kind of needed Kristen Schaal to stay in that role because, like, the best parts of the nightclub are when they can't build it. Like, the race keep eating the construction workers or also undoing all their work. I'm like, that's very funny. It's visually interesting. This part of the nightclub is actually my favorite part, probably, when they're not able to build it because Kristen Schaal emotionally doesn't want it to happen and the race are connected to her. I'm like, this is great.
The race
this
won't
works
follow
wonderfully.
her orders. They'll only follow what she wants within her. Yeah.
I love that. It's a weird kind of therapy to be like, I guess that's not what I want. And that was actually genuinely interesting to have like an outer encapsulation of your feelings that will not lie to you. So yeah, I once she was on their side though, it kind of just got to be like, I felt like the boys, because the boys didn't want to have the nightclub and Naja did, and I actually was not like super excited about the nightclub. I'm not gonna lie.
Interesting. Yeah, I can definitely feel that. I like the nightclub, and I agree with you 100%. Don't like it with the guide, Kristen Schall's character, on board.
Yeah, I think if she never got on board and every single week was like, no, blood sprinklers, they'll ruin the books, or like was constantly against it, it would have worked a lot better. Like they're always trying to get around her somehow.
Or at the very least, if they introduced a new or secondary foil, you know,
some kind of like manager of the nightclub.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm the guide, I'm on your side. Oh no, someone from the World Vampiric Council sent like the master bookkeeper here there needs to be a second thing then to sub in as the new opposing force.
The vampiric version of whoever checks IDs, like the liquor license people or
sure.
Whatever that is.
Anything like that.
You're letting vampires in who are under 100. They're too young. They can't be here.
Yeah. Something along those lines, I think would sell it a little bit more. But I like when the race were eating the construction workers. It was a lot of fun. It's a fun setting. The blood sprinklers that don't work. The constant references to like the Blade movies. I love. I really just eat it up. I can't get enough of references to vampiric pop culture within this show.
Now, I'm so confused about Blade. So is Blade an actual vampire in this universe and he has movies?
Blade is the character in the movie.
Oh, wait, Wesley Snipes was on the Vampiric Council,
That's
not
right.
Blade. I'm sorry. I misremembered what happened. You're right.
That's right.
You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So Wesley Snipes is a vampire, and he played a vampire named Blade in the movies Blade.
That is correct. And I actually can't even remember. He might be an honorary vampire. He was on the Vampiric Council, but I'm not sure.
His connection was so bad.
Yeah. So he might have been an honorary vamp. But either way, Blade doesn't exist. Wesley Snipes exists. And the film Blade exists. All right. This is Lightyear all over again.
Oh, shit.
It shouldn't be.
Oh, God. This is Naja's favorite movie.
This is the movie the toy Blade was based on. All right. It shouldn't be that hard to track.
Excellent. So that's the nightclub. I will say a runner idea they had through the season that I really liked is the Djinn. I think the Djinn made for just great comedy. I don't know if there is a Djinn in... I hadn't heard that some Djinn have 52 wishes.
Sure.
Damn, other cultures?
Okay,
Give
get
me
more wishes.
I mean, what do you even do after 3? I mean, Nandor showed that you can just fucking willy-nilly wishes away.
Absolutely waste them.
Oh, man. But yeah, I think the Djinn was a great way of just doing anything you wanted to do.
Yeah.
And like this Nandor just being so petty to be using like wishes to like get rid of wives out of the count. To do very dumb things like bring dodos back. Never once fixing the house.
Never once.
With the Djinn.
No.
The goal for the entire season is fix the house. And he had a genie that granted wishes and did not do it.
Did not do it. Never once changing himself either to...
Oh, he changed himself a bunch of times.
Did he?
Yeah, he like made his face all weird in the one with the principal.
Oh, that's true.
And
that is true.
He gave himself the biggest penis in the world, and that was actually my favorite episode.
Because I really like Laszlo as like the legal guide on the contract with the Djinn.
No, that was Guillermo.
Was it Guillermo who was helping?
Guillermo helped him out.
Oh, okay.
Because
Okay,
Guillermo's
my bad.
actually smart.
Right.
Laszlo thinks he's very smart.
That is true. Laszlo, though, is sometimes smart in a vampire mythological world sense.
Yes.
Where,
yes.
like...
Street smarts, vampire style.
Yes. Guillermo knows, like, who to pay to
Insurance.
make sure that the gas stays on. Yes. All right. But Laszlo does know, like, this witch's book does this and this and that. So he actually does know some things.
He does. You're very right. Yeah. Laszlo has vampire street smarts. Guillermo has human street smarts. He knows what insurance is and all this stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, super fun working out the contract for the world's biggest penis, but comfortably big, and like figuring out all of the loopholes.
Because like I think the very last thing they say is like, you can't make everyone else's penis smaller, and the genie's like, I was gonna do that. You got me. I was gonna be my final loophole, but you've closed every loophole. Yeah, I think that. And it was nice to have Guillermo and Nandor working together, like, just through a whole episode without fighting.
Sure.
Like, they never butted heads that episode. They really were just on board with each other the whole time. Like, we gotta make sure my penis is good. It's very important to me.
Now, that said, I would say one of my favorite episodes was the night market, when they have that battle at the underground fight. That was incredible.
My second favorite episode, easily. Yes,
Okay.
I liked all three storylines for the night market, which I don't think happened in a lot of episodes. Like Naja, like bartering for different items. At one point, she just gets a weird T-shirt and she trades it for like Wraith heroin.
Yes, I think the T-shirt was it that
If the
shitty
bitch
motorcycle
fell
shirt.
off,
If you
that.
if you can read this, the bitch fell off.
It was something like that. It was a real basic bitch. Like, you didn't need to go to the night market
To get this.
that T-shirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I loved the night market for so many reasons. Like, I think it's the only episode where Guillermo is like using his like Van Helsing skills. Because he used to do it a lot when they were trying to kill, when like random vampires were trying to kill the main cast.
Sure.
But he doesn't bodyguard very much this season.
I think does it come up a little bit in the family episode of like him kind of getting in between? So it comes up in a touch there. And I liked that family episode. I think that really worked. You work with the train station.
You all work at the railroad.
At the railroad.
Not even the train station.
Everyone in the family being like weirdly tense because they all have Van Helsing vampire hunter blood is pretty good. So like I like that too. But yeah, Night Market was a top 10 What We Do in the Shadows episode. I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah, Night Market, him fighting all the other familiars, and each time being like, I don't want to hurt you, and then he has to hurt them. Him fighting Nandor. Also, just like not the silent hero, but like the side hero of that episode, that announcer was incredible.
Really doing a great job.
For like just a one-off character who like, because he has most of the lines in the episode, because he's doing like this entire B storyline is him just yelling out what's happening in the fights. But he was crushing it. I cannot find who that is because he's only in one episode. The
Sure.
IMDb is impossible to search for who that was. But yeah, that was a lovely surprise of like, whoa, this guy in this one-off role is crushing this.
Is really selling the shit out of this and having a ton of fun with it. I fully agree. The announcer really sold a lot, and great fight choreography too. Like,
it was a good fight.
I legitimately enjoyed that fight top to bottom. Yeah, the Night Market episode is really just a ton of fun.
Yeah, and I think it was one of the only times they went to like a cool new location. Because like they always go to like, whenever they go somewhere new, it's always fun. Like, you know, we're going to go to the Jackie Daytona bar. We're going to go to the Vampire Council for the first time. Like, what? And so like, yeah, it was like a nice new place where I was like, I do want to see more of the night market.
It does make me feel like maybe this season they blew a little bit of the budget with the nightclub location as like a reliable second location. And we lost those kind of variable second locations a little bit more.
I can see that.
So maybe it was a budget thing.
Maybe.
Well, let's take a quick break in this episode to thank one of our sponsors of today's episode. We want to thank our good friends. You know them, you love them. It is tpublic.com.
It is tpublic.com. You know what you're going to get there? Your next favorite. It's going to be your favorite one. Your next favorite t-shirt or tank top or a t-shirt of a different size and a different color or a tank top with a different cut. I have to tell you guys, use the drop-down menus. There's different kinds of tank tops. I really like the racerbacks myself. They're a little bit tighter, and I like a tight tank top. But you can get a loose tank top.
They got like an eco recycled one, a heavyweight one, a premium. You can switch to a V-neck on some of them as well.
So many options on tpublic.com. That's why it's going to be your favorite shirt.
Many different
why.
size options as well. Very customizable, different fits. And then on top of that, too, you can also get non-apparel as well. You can get stickers, mugs, wall art, whatever it is that you might, whatever accoutrement you might want in your home.
And what's going to be on these accoutrements is just a design you absolutely love, whether it be nerdy or not nerdy, and it will be designed by an indie artist getting a fair commission for their work. And isn't that the dream?
Absolutely, that is the dream. Like one design that I am liking right now. It's a design by us. And it is called Johnny is Fine. And it is the House on Fire, the This Is Fine style, and it is Johnny Storm in there, and he's saying this is fine because it's sincerely fine in this scenario.
He's leaned back, he's on fire, and he's like, this is fine.
This is sincerely fine.
It makes me laugh every time I look at it.
He is not frazzled because this is fine.
He might have lit that place on fire.
He might have did it himself.
It might have been his job.
And that's fine.
That's absolutely fine. My shirt this week, a shirt I own, absolutely love, get lots of compliments on. It is a Jackie Daytona Human Bartender, the very famous, I think, season 2 episode.
Maybe that
It's
might be right.
been out for, it's like a while now, but I think obviously everyone would agree probably their best episode. Jackie Daytona Human Bartender. It's just him as if he is a beer logo holding up a beer. It's a phenomenal shirt. I got it in blue because you can get any color shirt you want.
Human Bartender.
Jackie Daytona. Human Bartender.
A phenomenal design as well. And either of the designs we just mentioned, as well as ones we've previously mentioned on the podcast and other ones we just think are cool, you can find that in our storefront, which is over at teepublic.fromsuperheroes.com. That is teepublic.fromsuperheroes.com. When you shop through that storefront, you'll see the designs that we like. When you purchase something there, you support the artist and you also directly support this show and network as well. And also when you go to that link, you can search around the full site as well, and you're still going to support the artist and this show. They're well made, they're well priced, shipped right to your doorstep. Check them out at teepublic.fromsuperheroes.com. And thank you, TeePublic, for your support.
Thank you, TeePublic.
And now back to what we do in the shadows.
What we do in the shadows. A quick question. Did I misunderstand or do they not do anything with it? Does Nandor have 2 wishes left?
Huh. I believe he does.
Because he was given that tiny lamp at the end, and I thought it had 3 wishes in it as his wedding present.
He was empty, and then he got 3 as the wedding present from the Jinn. Mm-hmm. And
he
then
used 1 to make Marwan into Freddy.
Yes, and then let Freddy go.
Mm-hmm. But that wasn't a wish. That was just
he's still got 2 left.
I think he still has 2, unless there was just throwaway lines about the other 2 wishes that I missed. But that seems like a wild thing to close out the season and just be like, I banking them?
Banking them
for later?
I mean, I could see the show going back to that at some point as well.
I mean, actually, it is fun to have in your back pocket. 2 wishes whenever you want to pull them out.
Yeah.
So I actually respect it.
As a throwaway joke or as a full wish episode?
Yeah, I just it's like some dire situation a season later, and they're like, oh no, the vampiric council is going to kill us. And it's like, I have 2 wishes left.
Yeah, I can see that. I respect that. I do respect that. I don't respect Nandor really fucking up Guillermo's shit in this season. God damn it, Nandor. You've always been a little shit. But making your fiance Nandor's boyfriend, fuck you, dude.
It's a big fuck you. It's also, in a way, kind of sweet. But also it's very not jealous, but also maybe jealous.
It's possessive is what I think it is, because he doesn't want Guillermo to have anything of his own. He wants Guillermo to be fully dependent on him. He wants codependency.
Oh, that's not what I got at all. I got the impression, to me, that was Guillermo is better at this. I don't know how to make a perfect person. I fucked up Marwyn so bad. I did all these wishes on her, and I still couldn't make a person I liked. And then Guillermo found a person he liked immediately. I'm going to do whatever he does. I clearly don't know how to get a person I like, sincerely.
Okay.
So I took it as very much I'm an idiot, and I have not been able to make a person I like and I sincerely enjoy hanging out with. So I'm going to steal Guillermo's because that guy's cool.
I took it as possessive, as I'm stealing this from Guillermo because I don't want Guillermo to have his own things.
No, because if it was possessive, I think he would have stolen the actual Freddy and he would have rubbed it in Guillermo's face. Like he didn't even try to like get in front of Guillermo about it. He just went on his own dates and he was like, Guillermo really, it's like when your friends like, you would love this restaurant, so you go on a different night and then some night they catch you there. But you know, a restaurant isn't a person. But you could, if you make 2 restaurants.
You're a real Nandor defendor every time you're defending him.
No, he is an asshole, but he's also a moron and doesn't know he's doing asshole things for the most part.
That is true. I do like, as much as I'm like mad at Nandor for treating Guillermo shitty, I do like that this is the inciting incident that pushes Guillermo over the edge. That it's like, I'm going to go take what I want. I'm gone. You don't need me here. You're fussing. You're shitty. I can't have things of my own. I like this Guillermo this season to be like, I'm stealing your money. I am fucking off, and I'm getting my own vampirism. Like this, like fuck you, pay me. I'm taking what I earn.
Pay me, Guillermo.
Fuck you, pay me, Guillermo is I love it.
I mean, I love every version of Guillermo, which is like so impressive of Harvey Guillen. Like Guillermo, who's just a familiar, who's like a little bit scared in season 1. Guillermo, who's a total badass because he finds out he's a Van Helsing. Guillermo, who's just like, now I'm in charge of your money. And like, now I'm a boss.
Yeah.
Like all different kind of levels of Guillermo. Or like, and Guillermo, who's like, I'm in love with Nandor maybe, but now I'm like, actually have my own boyfriend and fuck that guy. Like so many different Guillermos. And he is so different from the vampires who never change.
Ah, yeah, that's a good point.
And like, you know, maybe if he becomes a vampire, he will stop changing. But I do really am so impressed about every season. Guillermo has a different thing going on that I fully believe and buy into.
Huh, that is very interesting.
But the vampires don't change. I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, Colin Robinson turns back into himself. The vampires cannot change.
They have to be exactly who they are.
They have to be stuck in time and their past selves. But Guillermo, if Guillermo does become a vampire, I will be very interested to see if he continues to have growth or gets stuck in the cyclical cycles that like all of the vampires do.
Of just I decide one personality and this is who I am forever.
Yeah. You gotta just be one thing, I guess, when you're a vampire. You can't have layers.
Yeah, like tracksuit Guillermo with like gold chain, like a gold watch and shit. I'm like, oh man, like
that Guillermo rules.
This Guillermo rules, absolutely rules. So yeah, that will be interesting to see. I'm wondering how the Van Helsing blood will cope with him being a vampire himself.
Could you even turn him? I mean, I guess it's not like it's kind of magical. You can detect vampires and like get all fucked up about it.
A little bit. It would either turn him into a Blade-like character or a really depressed person who hates himself.
Ooh, yeah, he'd have like IBS or something every time he drank blood.
Yeah, it might fuck him up.
Might fuck him up too bad.
Or you might become Blade. It's really one or the other.
Ooh, damn,
it could go right back to Blade.
Different options. I hope he gets Blade.
I hope he gets Blade.
And then he'll be like, reopen that nightclub.
Yeah, from our friend, recurring guest star Chris Sandiford, who was always lovely to see show up in the show, who plays the vampire who works at the convenience store and goes to the wedding and becomes friends with Guillermo. He's been a guest recurring. He's a friend of the podcast. He was on our episode about Spider-Man 2. Lovely to see him on this show. Just a delightful actor.
Absolutely. What a load-bearing storyline he has been given right at the end there. Because when he showed up in the wedding episode, I actually was like, what a weird little tag for this episode. Like, it never goes anywhere. Like, it's a nice thing that Guillermo does. But I'm like, why did you invite Chris Sandiford to the wedding? Like, there's no scene afterwards.
Sure.
There's no follow-up. But really, it was just the seeds for, I need to know another vampire who will turn me. So well done seed-wise.
Yeah.
And good luck, Chris Sandiford, next season. I assume you have to stick around.
I hope the schedule allows him to come back because I know he's cast as a series regular on a different show now.
Yeah.
So, but depending
Very
on what
busy.
their filming schedule is, hopefully we see more Chris Sandiford in the future on What We Do in the Shadows. And then the other runner, I guess, for the first half of the season was the Property Brothers knockoff that they had starring comedians the Sklar brothers as well, which I thought was delightfully silly. The consistency with which they would go back to Laszlo watching this show and just seeing segments and these little clips and building up to a full episode of just this Property Brothers knockoff. And then to put a hat on a hat with it being Nick Kroll's character from a previous season.
Who wanted that hat?
Who just wanted the witch's asshole hat that is cursed. It was so many hats on a hat looking for a hat that I found that to be delightful.
That episode was really fun. And I do love things that are seated in. Because, like, if he hadn't been watching Flip This House all season and suddenly we just had a Flip This House episode, it'd be like, what the hell is going on? But Laszlo just being, like, this guy who usually only likes, like, porn or, like, deeply magical things or, like, mythology to be like, oh, they're going to put in an accent wall. like, it was just a really nice switch for his character, but also a thing I totally get as someone who has every now and then fallen into watching a not that interesting reality show of like, that's just comforting television.
It's just good. Yeah, it's just good, comforting television.
And you're just like, I want to see how it looks at the end. I got to see how they flip this house.
And the fact that they did change some of the house. Like,
just, like 2 whole rooms. And then every other room just got like flowers.
Yeah. And just a couple of candles as well, which also feels very real. The underwhelming before and after was really funny and delightful. A couple of candles. We never really revisit the man cave room or the hat room, but whatever. That's fine. But it's all to make a hat room to find the witch's hat because the Property Brothers don't exist and it's just Nick Kroll from previous seasons.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun. That episode has a lot of like standout fun points. Like it is, I actually feel like they didn't emphasize this enough, that the show is already a mockumentary and then they did one episode of a reality show, even though it's already being filmed as a reality show.
Yeah.
And I really desperately wanted to see 2 camera crews.
I did too. I did too.
Where did the regular camera crew go? Like the Flip This House camera crew is here.
Right.
But where is the regular everyday camera crew? Like there should be 2 cameras in every shot. And I think it would be so funny and also so easy to film.
Just let your other camera operators get in the way, cross the axis, get in the shot.
Matter.
Yeah, have a boom in the shot. Your framing is less important now.
What a chill day for everyone to film that day.
That's true. And I thought there could even I was even expecting, and maybe this is why they didn't do it because it's expected or it's sitting right there, but like a joke of the Flip This House guys, the Sklar brothers, talking to the wrong camera crew, and then Laszlo and Nadia or whatever are talking to the reality show camera crew, and they're like, so Nadia, ate one of the hosts, and it's like, we're the Flip This House team. Oh, I thought you were just them mixing up the camera crews or something felt like it was right there. Yeah,
because you could definitely easily do that because the other camera crew had different lighting and different fonts on their captions. So the fonts immediately would give it away that like this is not our camera crew.
And that is a small thing that I find so delightful, which is the exact same set that they use for every episode of the show, but lighting it differently, and it's just even and bright, and it is lit like a reality show filmed in this space. I think it works so well. Changing the style of the episode works so well.
Yeah, there is so much to love on that episode. Just killing one of the Sklar brothers right off the top and like burying his body in the background. Nausea having to hypnotize the entire crew, the person editing this episode, the person watching this episode from home. Like more bases than she usually covers.
She really did the legwork on that one. When Nadia's like, who else watches it? And then like the host has to be like, one time the producer's girlfriend gave us notes. Like just going through the list of who sees the rough cut. Fuck, that killed me. That was killing me. The other thing that killed me that episode, I think they did it the first time Nick Kroll showed up, but just his gang is so big. Oh, shit. I almost forgot. Nick Kroll
having, like, literally 50 vampires in his gang. And he knows all their names.
How many the staff must have wrote or Nick Kroll improvised, I don't know. Because it crosses this invisible threshold where I'm like, after 3, I'm like, I don't think anyone wrote those down, and this is Nick Kroll improvising. But once we cross 20, I'm like, someone had to have written these down for you.
You didn't come up with 20 names on the spot, Nick Kroll. Yeah. So many characters, so many names, and like the absurdity of it is so great because he has this giant crew. He's got 50 vampires that work for him. but he's done a year-long long con to break into a house and steal a hat. And it's like, 50 of you could just walk into this house and steal this hat.
Multiple years. Because they said the show's on its like 6th season. And just the absurdity when they point out the absurdity as well of being like, so you invented a show, you hypnotized a guy, you pretended to be his brother, you came up with like, you did press circuits, you did advertising.
You flipped hundreds of houses.
Yeah.
To steal this hat where literally I think one of you could just walk through the window and take it.
Good God. And also, I loved Nick Kroll's line to be like, we're so incredibly popular, but he's like, do you know who watches this? It's retirement homes and hospital wait rooms. One episode I showed my own asshole for like 1 minute and no one said anything. And just Laszlo being like, I thought that was weird too. Like that's a perfect definition of things that are on HGTV.
Oh, yeah. Hospitals, airports.
Yeah.
Usually when I'm at the airport, I'm like, oh yeah, there's just a non-offensive house renovation show.
Yeah, nobody's ever fully engaged, but it's around.
Mm-hmm.
It is
It's
around.
On.
So yeah, I liked that. I liked the whole flip this house bit. That worked for me.
It was a nice surprise. I will say something that I actually was a little sad about right off the top of the season that I think was a negative for me. And maybe it's less of a negative now that the season's over and like the whole ethos of the season is that the vampires don't change. We start episode 1 and season 3 ended with literally all of them going on these grand adventures. Like Nandor was going to travel. Naja went to London to be on the main vampiric council. Guillermo was supposed to go with Nandor. And then they literally, episode 1, they just all come back to the house and we don't really go to any of these places they've been, and I found that very disappointing. Like I really
or define any of the characters by what happened there.
Yeah, it really felt like I thought this season was going to be kind of like that season of The Office where Jim works at a different office for a couple episodes.
Okay,
like like they're still all the characters we know, but like we'll have like 2 whole episodes of Naja at the Vampiric Council in London. I'm like, oh man, who the wacky character is going to be, and they'll have accents, they'll eat beans. I don't know what you do, London. And things
they
like
do
that.
eat beans.
They do eat
and
beans.
They do have accents.
And like, I don't know a thing Nandor did on his travels. And he never confronts Guillermo about the fact that Guillermo didn't show up at the train station. It wasn't his fault because he was kidnapped by Laszlo. But like, it just feels like they completely were like, well, screw how we ended season 3.
Yeah, which is a strange move.
It was, because I didn't expect the whole season to be about like where everyone ended in season 3. But season 3, everyone went on such a nice journey. Literally every character.
Yeah, you would think that you would give it at least like 1 or 2 episodes of like, let's kind of wrap up where they were and how that's going to affect this season. But it was just kind of a hard cartoonish, like,
we're all back in the
restart.
House.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What did any of them do? Like, it didn't. It felt weird.
Yeah.
It felt like they didn't commit to their own previous season.
I'm with you there.
A little betrayed.
I can feel it. I had almost forgotten the betrayal until you had brought it up. I'm also betrayed by the fact that the show has had multiple rapping vampires and none of them has been friend of the podcast John Blair. That's an actual criminal crime.
An actual crime. Our friend John Blair has been on this podcast several times. He is a professional stand-up comedian and sketch comedian who can do like a Matt Berry-esque thing, but he also does several other things. And I think he has 2 to 3 rapping vampire sketches, and they're fantastic.
They are all bangers.
He is like, this is a thing he is known for. He lives in Toronto where they film What We Do in the Shadows. Mm-hmm. He has never been hired to be one of the dozens of rapping vampires we have seen on this show.
So many rapping. The man can rap. The man does vampirism and is obsessed with Dracula.
He can bring his own cape and costume.
Just get him on the dang show.
Guys, what do we got to do?
There's a lot of rapping vampires here.
At this point, it's becoming a little rude.
It is becoming a little rude.
It's kind of like looking at John Blair and being like, we see what you do.
Yeah.
We're going to do it better. We'll do it without you.
Rude. That's a rude and direct insult.
Absolutely rude.
I will circle back. The Nick Kroll listing all of his vampire buddies on that similar vein of it's simultaneous, it's too many to be improv, but it doesn't feel like it's scripted, was the Matt Berry on the bus listing other vampire musical acts. And it was just all vampire puns, and so many that it was like a post-credit scene with even more. And I'm like, I cannot figure out if you wrote this many in the writer's room or that is just Matt Berry just going off.
Yeah, it's hard to know because definitely you could see a thought process if he was just going off, because like a few times he would just come up with like one word he could change, and it would be like wraith. Okay, a wraith is a word. So he's like Wraith Hill.
Yeah.
And like now he's on the word wraith.
Billy Wraith Cyrus.
Yes, and he did like 5 wraith ones. So I'm like, did his mind go there or did a writer's mind go there? But I feel like if a writer had done it, they would have like mixed it up and not done 5 wraiths in a row.
I don't know. I could see a writer's room being like, we need a bunch of wraith ones. Throw everything out. And you put it all in one document. It's
hard to know.
It's really hard to know.
It's hard to know, but a long list is always funny. There's hardly ever been a long list that I've been like, this doesn't land.
That one lands. Both long lists in this one lands for me. Yeah.
I will say another highlight for the season because, like, yeah, I do need to reiterate. I did like this season. I like previous seasons more. I'm really glad that Sean got to do more this season. The neighbor and Laszlo's best friend.
Sean's a secret star.
Sean is a secret fun star, and I love that Laszlo sincerely loves this man.
Yeah. Yeah, they've hypnotized him too many times, him and his wife, but sincere best friends.
Yeah, like I think like they like Sean, he likes Sean more than any of them like Guillermo, like more than any of them like any other human. He is like, no, this is my actual best friend, like to the point where in the episode where they all go hunting and Nandor's like, why aren't you my best friend anymore? I'm like, 'cause it's Sean. Sean is his best friend. He loves Sean. Sean is a great friend. He's also trying to be nice to little Colin Robinson. He's just a nice man. I love Sean. At the wedding where he gets hypnotized to be like, this is a normal wedding. And he, or no, you think vampires are normal. And he's like, you're a vampire too.
She's like, that's totally normal to me.
So cute.
The pure, unadulterated enthusiasm that he brings to every given scenario is just very fun and playful.
Yeah, very, very fun. And also he's in actually another highlight episode. Wow, more highlight episodes than I remember. The one where they spend the entire episode hypnotizing the president of the school they're trying to get Colin in. And they try like 50 different combinations of who the parents are. At one point, Sean is the dad and Naja's the mom. And it's like, no, that doesn't work.
No. And they're trying to get the doll in. And we're like, they're not even, like, Colin's not even involved anymore of getting into the school.
Yeah, that whole sequence was incredibly funny. And that sequence ending with Guillermo being like, why don't you just hypnotize him to think Colin got in? And they're like, that's not in the spirit of what we do.
Love it. Yeah. The hard cutting to multiple combinations really, really tickles. It's really, really funny.
So yeah, some real highlights this season. So yeah, it's fun. I'm getting more on board the more I talk about like highly recommending this season. Yeah, because that episode was a banger.
Yeah, I think that it definitely had like some highly concentrated laughs in these moments. It didn't have the laughs per minute of previous seasons. But again, I think it comes down to that being intentional of them needing to break up the pacing a little bit and not, overstay its welcome of like the exact same tone that we've gotten for 3 seasons. And they've done a pretty good job of breaking it up. For the most part.
Yeah, I think they did a good job. Every season's a little bit different, even though nothing ever changes at the house, which is difficult. So I had fun. I can't wait. They've been renewed for 2 more seasons.
Hot dog.
So we're going to have more shadows in our future.
There will be more shadows in our future. Well, that's going to be it for our conversation on what we do in the shadows. We're going to ask one final question of what would you change? So now that we've discussed everything we've discussed, what would you change about this if you could change anything? Before we do ask the final question, we will remind you, as we do every week, to please take a moment to subscribe, follow, rate, review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addict, wherever you get your podcasts. By simply leaving a rating and review, you help us move up the charts, get seen by new people, and then those new people, when they find us, they check the reviews, are more likely to actually hit download and become a new subscriber. It's how we grow and expand and find a new audience. It's the main way is through ratings and reviews. So do it. It's free to do.
Help us grow. Help us expand. We want to be bigger, stronger, more powerful, more listeners. And then you'll be like, we were there on the ground floor.
That's what you want.
We knew about them when they were pretty okay sized.
When they were doing okay. They were doing
okay.
well. They were doing well.
Unless you've been here
since the beginning, in which case, respect to you.
We know some of you have been here since the beginning, and wow.
We appreciate that.
Way to hold on.
So do that if you haven't already. It's a free way to support the podcast. If you want to support the podcast monetarily, you can do that by heading over to our Patreon, which is a monthly subscription service where you can subscribe to this network at whatever level you can afford, and you'll get different types of cool bonuses for doing so. So you can do $1 a month, $5, $10, $20. You can also switch over to a yearly basis. If you do that, you actually get 1 month for free, so you only pay for 11 months if you do the yearly version.
I genuinely forgot we offered that. Thanks, babe.
Yeah, you can do yearly.
Way to get the info out there. I'm sitting
yearly,
here like,
you got a
wow,
month
free month.
Free month out of it if you do it yearly.
Holy crap. What a deal.
It's not bad at all. And you get different bonuses depending on your levels. If you do the $10 a month hero level, you get a bonus episode of this podcast every single month. This month on the Patreon exclusive bonus, we did Lord of the Rings, The Two Tower. And it was a lot of fun, and that's available right now over on our Patreon page.
Yes, my second favorite film, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, a special treat over only on Patreon. And when you sign up, you get access to all the old episodes as well at the $10 level. So there is
over 80.
Over 80. And you get a month free for a year.
If you do the year. Or you can just do a month, and also
you can download them all real quick.
Yeah, and you can cancel or change your subscription level on any given month if you're doing the monthly, or every year if you're doing the yearly, whatever it is that you want to do, whatever is in your budget. Support us, get cool bonuses for doing it. So head on over to patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. That's patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. And now, let's go in for the close. Let's ask the final question of what would you change. Diana, what would you change about what we do in the shadows?
I'm going to change the Colin Robinson stuff. As much as I know you liked it, it didn't work for me, and it's my change. So I'm going to, I still think, I think this can work, the baby Colin. I just didn't think it landed for me what was happening. So I actually think I'm going to do, he's still like a baby, he's growing. But every episode, he's going to kind of be a different kind of energy vampire because his body is trying to figure out what he is. So in one episode, he is like an emotional energy vampire, and he lays all his problems out on you, and he makes you do his emotional labor. In another episode, he's like a physically exhausting, and he makes you clean his room, or he makes you wrestle with him. I don't know what he has to do. He's a kid. He can tire you out. No problem. And then there's other kinds because in the final episode, he got them angry, and then his eyes glowed like he'd sucked up their energy. And I'm like, are you a different kind of energy vampire now?
Right.
So I was so there could be an episode where he gets them mad and he sucks up that energy, and he has to figure out which energy he likes best and who he's going to be. And he's like, oh, I already figured this out. It was the original Colin Robinson. And the boring energy is the most delicious for some reason. I don't know why it would be, but just to mix up what's going on, because I didn't really vibe with any of young baby Colin Robinson, but I wanted to because I love Colin Robinson. So I wanted his storyline to slap and hit me. So I think something that mixes every episode up of he's well, what's this one now? Why are you like this? Why are you making me mad? So yeah, that's going to be my change. Just a couple changes to Colin, who I thought was my sad point for the season.
I like that. I can fully get on board with that. I think maybe what they were trying to do this season was he was always an energy vampire, but a different type depending on what that age sucks out of you. So it's an angsty teenager. It is anger. So I think they were maybe doing what you were doing, but they didn't draw attention to it.
No, his eyes never glowed.
Yeah, and they even had he's not an energy. He's not feeding off of energy. So they in fact said the opposite, though they were very close to doing what you said. And yeah, I could see that, and I would very much like it.
I would like that as well. Thank you for liking my change. Andrew, what would you change?
Let me throw this out there on the Colin Robinson of it all. What I think might help is I think that rather than dying at the end of last season, Colin Robinson lives and like is dying this season while there's like a baby of him that burst out of his body.
Oh no.
So like I think that like Laszlo and Colin are the parents to a little Colin that looks like Colin. And then we get to have the normal energy vampire, but in a parental, and now we have a Laszlo and Colin are the parents of a baby Colin type of a thing.
Ooh, and at the end, do we send baby Colin on his way into the world to be an energy vampire somewhere else? Or
maybe at the end, I think adult dies as the baby one becomes the adult one.
Oh, it makes me sad.
But then we still always have the same one kind of going. So then we get the one that we like and the one that is more of a constant and the one that kind of gets the flow of the show going a bit better with the visual comedy prop gag of the we have a CGI adult head on a baby body. So we still get to do all of the jokes without disrupting the flow of the show.
I think I can get on board with that. Yeah, because definitely in the final episode when original Colin Robinson came back, I felt a sense of relief and anger that he was only just getting back in the last 5 minutes of the season. I'm like, I miss original Colin Robinson. So yeah, having a way to have him around all season would have been great, and still being able to try out this experiment of tiny child adult head.
Yeah.
No, I think that absolutely works.
Nice, we did it.
We did it. What we do in the shadows. That's it. This is what we do.
That's what we do. We fix the shows in the shadows. So that's going to be it for this week, talking about what we do in the shadows. We want to let you know, our wonderful listeners, we want to let you know about an event we have coming up on November 5th. It is Extra Life Game Day. Some of you might know what that is. For those of you who don't, what it is there are many different streamers, entertainers from around the world who are doing a 24-hour streaming marathon on whatever platform they choose. We're going to be participating. We're doing it over on Twitch, and all of the money goes to charity. It goes to the Children's Miracle Network. We have selected Sick Kids Hospital as our charity. So all of the proceeds are going to be going to charity from this event. And what this event is going to be, it's November 5th. It's going to be 24 hours of the From Superheroes Network. We're going to be doing live podcast tapings that are broadcast directly to Twitch of a bunch of the podcasts on the network. So we're doing Talk from Superheroes, I Hate It But I Love It, The Villain Was Right, The Fandom Show, streamed live to Twitch with some interaction and Q&A at the end. So you're going to get the episode that you normally get, but with visuals and with a new element as well. We're also going to be doing some watch-along parties, some watch parties, and we're going to be doing some traditional gaming as well, and some Jackbox party nights, some interactive stuff. That's all happening on November 5th, 24 hours of streaming fun. And it's all for charity, like I said. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to extralife.fromsuperheroes.com. All of the information will be there. We'll be posting the full schedule once it's available of all of the events and everything that's going on. And once you're there, you can also donate to the cause as well. We are hoping to raise as much as we can for the Sick Kids Hospital. At each donation level, you will be entered into different things. At the $20 donation level, you will be for every $20 you are entered a raffle for prizes that we'll be drawing live on stream. We'll be announcing all of the prizes as we get closer to the date. But go ahead and donate now, because you're going to want to be in, and you'll be locked in for any future prizes we announce. So you don't need to wait for any reason.
Yeah, and once you're locked in, if your name is picked, you don't have to be watching at the second your name is picked. By the way, sometimes I think you have to when I watch these things, and I'm like, no, if your name is picked, you win that prize.
Hang out and watch, it's fun. But if you're not on the stream when the prize is drawn, we're going to send you a message through the donation system letting you know that you have won the prize. So donate what you can. We're hoping to raise some money. And we hope it goes well. It's our first year participating in Extra Life Game Day. Very excited to do it. So head over to extralife.fromsuperheroes.com, EXTRA life.fromsuperheroes.com. You can see all the information. You can donate now, and also that will have the link to our Twitch channel where you can follow and make sure then that you get notified when we go live
on the day. And that is going to be it for this week. Next week on the podcast, we are going to be back and we are going to be talking about the Rings of Power.
Oh, those rings.
Those rings.
The Lord of the Rings? The Rings of Power?
Those titular rings.
Oh, my.
We're going to be back talking about that next week on the podcast. In the meantime, if you want to get a hold of us, you can reach me online at Ivimey, Ivimey.
You can reach me at Words of Diana.
And you can reach both of us at From Superheroes. And we'll talk to you all next week.
Bye.